The majority leader of the House of Representatives of the 8th Assembly is eyeing the top seat in the House ahead of the inauguration of the 9th Assembly. Honorable Gbajabiamila openly stated his intention at the official declaration of his ambition today in Abuja. According to Mr. Gbajabiamila, service to the nation is the motivating factor behind his seeking to become Speaker of the House of Representatives. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
The Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives is the presiding officer of the House, chosen through indirect election by elected members of the House of Representatives. The Speaker is third in line for the succession to the President after the Vice President and the Senate President. Nigeria has had 12 Speakers since 1955.
That this House do admit the Honorable...
This will be Femi Gbajabiamila's 5th term in the House of Reps, representing Surulere 1 constituency. He is the endorsed candidate of the All Progressives Congress, and his colleagues say he is the best candidate the party can offer.
I will not be making a mistake if I say Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila stand out as the best candidate we can offer for that position.
The citation for Mr. Gbajabiamila is read by Honorable Mohammed Mongono of Borno State.
Femi Gbajabiamila was the first and only legislator to bring motion on the floor of the House for the invocation of the doctrine of necessity during the illness and absence of President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of blessed memory, which led to the swearing in of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as acting president.
Then it was time for the formal declaration by the House leader of his intention to run for Speaker.
It is because of this unshakable belief in the potential and genius of Nigeria and the majesty of our democracy that I today, after wide consultations with my colleagues, my friends, family, party, and stakeholders, and in total submission to the will of God, today formally declare my intention to seek the position of the office of the Speaker of the 9th Assembly and offer my services to the nation in this capacity.
Following the declaration, different parties from the geopolitical zones show their support for the House leader.
The citation has gone and shown to us that indeed there is no other deserving person than himself.
This decision of the party, the APC, is not only a popular decision, but it's an upright decision.
Our joy today is having a leader and a speaker who understand the business of legislature.
The relationship between the executive and the legislature was on thin ice during the 8th Assembly. Mr. Gbajabiamila says he understands the imperative of striking a balance between the two arms of government without compromising the independence of the legislature. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Still on the National Assembly, it has begun an induction program for incoming federal lawmakers-elect. The program is to educate incoming lawmakers-elect on the workings of the National Assembly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, in his address at a dinner to open the induction program, wants the newly elected members to be courageous, as they will be called upon to take actions which may not be popular, but in the interest of Nigerians. Also speaking at the event, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, asked lawmakers-elect to build on the achievements of the 8th Assembly by passing legislation to address poverty, unemployment, and improve on the ease of doing business. The People's Democratic Party in Katsina State and its candidate have formally filed a petition before the Election Petitions Tribunal challenging the conduct of the March 9th governorship election. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Godi Uche, who led the legal team in the filing of the petition, says his clients are challenging the victory and educational qualifications of Governor Aminu Masari of the All Progressives Congress. With Monday, April 1st, 2019, as deadline for filing petitions before the tribunal, the PDP has been able to beat the time after filing their petition on Saturday. The APC, its candidate, Governor-elect Masari, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, have been named as respondents.
We have come here this evening to formally file the petition against the return and declaration of the governor of this state as the winner of the governorship elections. We have filed this petition even 2 days before the expiry of our time. Our time should actually expire on Monday. But because of the huge evidence we already have documented it, we have filed it before this tribunal. And part of the things we are claiming before this tribunal is that, first of all, our opponent was not even qualified educationally to even run for the election. And we're also going to show that he submitted false information to INEC in his Form CF001. We're going to show all that. We're also going to show that the election itself was marred by irregularities and that there were serious problems with that election. We have even put up places in this petition to show that the votes of PDP were stolen and used to make up the votes that you have for APC.
Let's talk more now about this. Data consultant Babajide Ogusanwo joins us now on the News at 10. Babajide, pleasure having you here again.
Good evening.
So all the elections are finally over. All eyes now on the leadership of the National Assembly. What are your expectations for the days ahead?
First of all, permit me to say Happy Mother's Day, if I may.
Thank you.
And we should ask ourselves that, is there any link between Mother's Day and politics? And here's what you find out. The world has been celebrating Mother's Day for over a century right now. And even though countries celebrate this day on several days, there is peace. And so whatever the outcome of elections, just like Mother's Day, some countries will be celebrating it next month. Some will be celebrating it in May, but there is peace. So whatever the results we see, what is guaranteed is we must all work towards peace. And even though we've seen the results of 28 out of 29 states, the results of Rivers State is still somewhere quiet. But here's why I have confidence. Let's listen to what the governor says. He's provided a solution to some of the crises facing the state. His solution is that security agencies should not interfere in the results. One of the other candidates as well, Dumolulu Briggs, says that even though peace does not always work, violence never works. So whenever the results start coming in for River State, what we'll expect is, just like Mother's Day has different dates, we all have to remain peaceful. But again, let's look at the results of the supplementary elections. We've seen 28 states. 15 of those states have gone to the APC. 13 of those states have gone to the PDP. And my expectations is that just as a lot of lobbying will influence the results of the elections of the National Assembly leadership, there's going to be a lot of other factors that will influence what happens on the floor of the Senate and the House of Reps.
But all roads should lead to peace at the end of the day.
All roads should definitely lead to peace, just as the leading players in Rivers have said. But let's now focus on what will happen in the days ahead, the leadership of the National Assembly. And I have an acronym for what I think will happen. I call it LIE. First is L, lobbying. So we've seen lobbying already visible from the declaration for the seat of the House of Reps, the Speaker of the House of Reps, as well as other positions, and also what will be happening in the Senate. The first will be a lot of lobbying. The second will be a lot of the influence of the governors. And if we were to look at the map today, based on the results we've seen in terms of where do we have more of the APC governors, the map shows 13 out of APC's 15 governors that won in this election, governorship seats, were in the north. So again, what will happen, and the choice of leadership at the National Assembly, both at the upper house and lower house, will also be influenced by the governors that won the election. Again, we've got 13 governors that won the elections from the north and only 2 from the south. But finally, what I think will perhaps play the biggest role will be experience. Again, first lobbying, second, the influence of governors, and the third, experience. Now, by experience, if you look at this, let's just talk about the Senate. We've got only 6 senators that have been in the 2007 Senate, 2011, 2015, now 2019. Only 6 senators. The interesting thing The rest are new. Only 6 senators have consistently been in the House since 2007. The trouble is, 4 out of those senators are in the PDP. The good news for the APC is 2 out of those 6 senators are in the APC. So when we're looking at the leadership of the Senate, even though we can't clearly determine who it will be, what we know is they've got 2 senators, Senator Ahmed Lawan from Yobe State and Senator Kabiru Gaya from Kano State. Those are the only 2 senators the APC have that have the most experience. They've been in the House since 2007. So we should keep our eyes on what sort of lobbying they'll be doing and how the influence of the zones they come from will play a role in who becomes the leader of the 9th Assembly.
So the leader should be elected based on what? Zoning or merit?
I think it should be a combination of both, Amarchi. And that's because as human beings, we've got our rational side and we've got our emotional side. Our rational side speaks to leaders should be chosen based on merit. Our emotional side would complain if leaders aren't chosen based on some balance of zoning. And so while we expect that, yes, lobbying, the influence of governor's eye and experience of the elected members will play a role, we also expect that it will also be a combination of merit and zoning. But what is even more interesting is in the days ahead, there are going to be non-elective positions that the president will have to determine who will lead. Those shouldn't be based on election. We should keep an eye on the choice the president will make, especially when we're looking at the service chiefs, the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, the chief of naval staff, and Air Force. And those are positions that wouldn't be based on election, but the president will also have a choice to make between merit and zone. So
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, but more than ever before, again, it's Mother's Day. The question that we should go away with tonight is, are we murdering our democracy or are we murdering our democracy? And if all leaders think about that carefully, and we should ask them, why do you want to lead the National Assembly? Why do you want to be the Speaker? Is it about your ambition or is it about helping other Nigerians, especially the common man, to achieve his ambition? Again, don't forget, tonight is the night where we should think about, being Mother's Day, are we murdering our democracy or are we murdering our democracy? But the days ahead are going to be interesting, Amarachi.
You're giving us a lot to think about, Babajide. Thanks again for joining us on the News at 10.
For me, the pleasure is always mine.